Are we live? I think I am. I'm starting a little early. But, am I? Is it? Oh, now it's just refreshing. But anyway, hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. Sorry I'm starting a little early. Are we live? Oh, is that too loud? Okay, I'm starting a little early. Okay, let's turn it down a little. Okay. Hello. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is Movie Crap Live. How's it going? Wow, look at all this. Hello, Alex, Austin, Sinram, K-Master, Quicksilver, Cornbread. Thank you, Cornbread. Purple Goop. Cornbread deserves a lot of credit. We'll get into that in a second. Nathaniel Fogo, Purple Goop. I might have said that twice. Austin again. Adrian. Will is here. Fuck yeah, look at that. I did send the tweet. I think I sent it. Now I'm questioning. Yes, I did. Yes, we are back on Movie Crap Live. Where the fuck are we? Movie Crap Live. Doing it again. It's been a month. Adrian, I'm sorry. You should have. I agree with you. Will. Oh, I'm excited to see Killers of the Flower Moon. Zodberg here. I love that entrance. Quicksilver, really. Oh, okay. I will be talking about that, so that's good. And yeah, I guess we'll just cut to the chase. I think some of you may even know what. Oh, I gotta hide the energy drink before I go. But we'll get to that. Let's just switch over. Bazinga! Oh god, I wish I hadn't done that now. Hello, welcome to Movie Crap Live. This is my should be more often movie news show where I live stream and talk about. Oh, hello, a guy named Crystal. Where I talk about movie news and all sorts of stuff like that. Thanks, Zodberg. But anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting month. After last time, not even joking, I unplugged the lights behind me, and all these sparks came out, and it was a little scary. But that is fixed since then. That's a behind the scenes thing. Like literally right after, I should have turned them off first, and I know better. But still, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Alex. You have a cool beard too, Alex. By the way, but thank you. I got it trimmed up. I don't know if it's the great. I don't know. I go back and forth on this one. Yeah, the cobwebs. Every year, people go, "Oh, you did that for the reviews and the streams." I really don't. Hello, TuneJ723. I really don't do that. My kids do it, and then I'm like, I guess we'll just use this. Yeah, that's sort of how it happens the last 2 years. Other than that, I had, I don't know. It's always rough. Should I move this down a little? Let's move it down a little bit. Oh, what's going on? Sorry. It's, okay, that's a little better. Oh, but now we can see, move that. Okay. I don't know. Life has always been complicated. This week was a little rough for various reasons, but I don't know. I wanted to get Exorcist Believer out before this, but I didn't because Friday was a little rough. But I got a lot of work done on the Film Rod video. I have gotten the longest of the cartoons I'm going to put out in a row done, and the second one, which I feel really strongly about, at least the material, I got like a good portion done last night because I was feeling down, and I was like, let's do something like fucking cool. Like today sucked. Let's like you were always thinking about this stupid thing. Let's like get it done. So I don't know. I don't want to send out those tweets all the time, and I'm like, man, today sucked, but I stay positive because I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I feel like I'm repeating myself in the extremes. But I try to like sort of talk about my life a little, I guess. And but I felt better that I got so much done, and I got really into it, and I am really determined to get these 3 out before the end of the year. And I think that's a possibility. So I feel much better about life and shit after that. So, yeah, other than that, I don't know, just doing well. Um, I don't know, hanging with the kids. I feel like the since August it's been a little crazy and stuff. Trying to get into spooky season. I will have, I think, mostly horror movie reviews and a review. Saddle Rash might sound like hello, Catbot. Saddle Rash might seem random, but it's related to. It's the first pilot of two pilots that Lauren Bouchard made for Adult Swim. One became a show. I'm reviewing the show. You can, once it comes out, you'll know it. I just wasn't sure. I would actually sort of like to be streaming a little bit more, and I don't know when the next time will be, so I just wanted to get the Saddle Rash thing out. Jack's Plate is a fan. I've contacted him that I will be outing his saddle rashness. No, that sounds gross. Anyway, I did review Night of the Living Dead. I reviewed one of the reasons I did Exorcist, it seems like no one after that movie came out wants to talk about Exorcist. I was like, I like to have at least a classic or a big horror movie title review happen every October. So at least I did The Exorcist. But, I don't know. I think as much as I talk about, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Ramsey the artist. I always look at like every day, like how do I turn this around at the end? Like either make something or watch something fun. But anyway, I don't want to. I know that kind of sucks when you hear someone talk about it. That's why I more don't talk about it publicly, just because it's like, oh, I got to do this again. You got to hear this again. But that's just the reality of my life. But it is like I feel like I'm on a peak where things are going to get cooler soon or a little better, and that's what I'm hoping for. So. Anyway, I do have, I think per tradition, I won't still show the energy drink till I get a super chat. I'm not trying to e-beg or anything like that. I just think it's a good tradition. So, hello there, cameraman. In positive notices, I put up flyers for Film Art Video. This is a thing. And I had most of them ruined because they're in my bag during an insane rainstorm. And for like 2 weeks, I didn't get to put up any flyers because... it's life's been annoying and stuff. And I just was a little down. I was like, maybe I'll just take a break. And right when I made more, this is not a joke, I stopped putting up flyers for 2 weeks. I will get to you, Austin. Thank you. Suddenly, I usually put them up on subways or in, if I find a post board somewhere. And literally, I found so many flyers that had been up for weeks, if not months. And I did see people subbing and commenting who are not my usual people. And I could tell people are using the stickers and flyers. But it was cool to know that those still get people. So if you are watching from one of those, thank you for being here, by the way. But it is actually really... I do recommend flyers and stickers because it's sort of like this other thing. And seeing... I had a flyer I know was on a subway for like a couple months. And I saw it this week. So... kind of cool. Anyway, I was feeling good. Anyway, so Austin, I'm going to reveal this. I'll do Austin, then I'll talk about what Cornbread guessed it. I had a guessing game on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. It's Twitter. I do not care. This is here. Let me get I want to have my monitor up. Okay. This is Toxic Rick. I said it was an energy drink of one of the stories. I think we haven't done this since the Rocks energy drink, and I'm going to drink this and try it. I'm assuming it's green. Let's hope I don't die or anything. Smells basically it's blue. I think it's just the Sonic energy drink again, and I believe it's by the same company. So I have Toxic Rick. Anyway, I suggested, can anyone guess it? Because I'm not sure how obscure this is. It was sort of just a dumb game. But thank you very much, Austin, for the super chat and for being nice and everything. But what was it? Austin, blah blah blah. Cornbread guessed it, and he guessed the other ones, and the other one that was there was the Operation Phoenix one, I believe. I did not see Fleeb Juice Although Fleeb Juice looks kind of cool. If I see Fleeb Juice, I might just get it. But I found a dispensary place near where I work, and I found that they had all these cool energy drinks, and so I'm kind of been doing that. I might go back to the Rock one at some point. But anyway, I'm just trying to sort of mix it up. 1 out of 10 if you don't get rated, boys. Thank you, cameraman. Hello, Al Vasquez. Oh, by the way, if you don't, Alex, you can put them up if you want or not. It's cool. But it's up to you, man. It's cool. But if you do, thank you. And take a picture. I will retweet, reshare, whatever platform of choice. If you do that. All right. Before we get into things, this is not so much a story, but let me say this, that a pup named Scooby-Doo, which has not been really that readily available, is on Tubi right now. Several seasons, in fact. So if you've ever wanted to watch that, that is on Tubi. Just go to Tubi, type in. It's a free streaming service. So if you ever are like, it's a free streaming service. So if you ever wanted to watch it, you can, and you get ads and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool, and you get to watch a pup named Scooby-Doo. What was I saying? Let's get into the show. Let's get into this shit. We're only 5 minutes in, we're a couple minutes. Actually, I'll tell you, I had this character, and I don't know if I'll make a thing about it, that I was telling you with a friend. It was called Tommy Tubi, and Tommy Tubi is this guy. He comes into Tubi offices. He's the head of acquisitions, because Tubi always has the most random shit on Tubi. And my image of Tommy Tubi, based on my image of Tommy Tubi is of the guy who, if you've gone on Tubi, you know it's like a random ass selection of movies, rare movies that haven't even got on DVD or VHS stuff. They'll be like, we have Titanic for 2 days. I don't know. It's like we have a bunch of indie stuff. It's the crazy selection. Here's what I imagine. I imagine Tommy Tubi comes in the office, has a vape pen, definitely is weed, has a huge cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee that you're pretty sure is coffee, but you think there's something else in there. Talks to no one, has his headphones in full blast. You can tell it's like kind of here, and it seems like a real weird selection of music. Like you walk by, I'm like, I think that's metal. I think you're listening to Public Enemy the other day. Now you're listening to pop. Now, like, you never know with Tommy Tubi. He just sits at his desk and answers emails and sends out. He's like, yeah, sure, we'll take it. He like copy and paste a lot. And then when he goes to lunch, he fucking never comes back. And that's how I imagine it works. And everybody's like, without Tommy, Tubi would be fucking destroyed. There would be no Tubi without Tommy Tubi. And anytime he has to go to a meeting and he looks half asleep and the boss is like, why did we acquire this? Tommy Tubi can stand up and totally defend the crap out of any film. And everyone's like, how the hell did he do that? Sits down, completely falls asleep. And then if he's asked another question, wakes up. Like, he's so good at his job, he does not care. He's like, he's got his vape pen. He's got it. Tommy Tubi, I believe that it is one guy who gets copy and paste a random thing, like, yeah, we'll acquire for this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. He's awesome at acquisitions, and he does the greatest job of running a streaming service of anyone. And it's just some dude with a vape pen and a lot of Dunkin' Donuts who doesn't give a shit and never comes back after lunch. Some say he eats lunch at the place. Some say he just goes home. No one's sure, but Tommy Tubi is for real. Anyway, I was thinking, you know what? I've been thinking about making Tommy Tubi a short for a while. Maybe I will. Actually, I cut cable yesterday. Alex, you brought this up. I cut cable recently because we're like, we never use it, and I have to get an antenna so we can make sure we can watch the parade and the Oscars, the 4 things we watch on, stuff like that. And yeah, it's been interesting how we don't use it. It hasn't affected anything. We just got a new router. Wi-Fi router. That's about all that changed, which I, of course, had to do, because I'm the IT person, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I will do Tommy Tubi. Thank you, everyone who's here. Hello, Green Wing Spyro, Jordan Bouchard. I think I saw Ryan in there somewhere. Anyway, I'm a little late to the whole. We should have cut the cord a while ago because we don't use it very much. Anyway, let us get into the show, but first let's do the plugs. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show or through my Patreon, which is linked below. I have to actually have some cool things coming out on the Patreon. One, when I send out postcards, there's going to be a film art video image for Halloween that's going to go out with it, which will probably be a little late. I'm sorry about that. And there'll be a Thanksgiving one, and there'll be a Christmas one, as well as when the new film art video comes out, there's actually a exclusive rough cut that will only be released for there. So if you're a patron, you get theirs. And this week, finally, I have recorded it. It is a real thing. My Ride with a Stranger commentary for Knock vs. Ride with a Stranger will be happening. Will be happening coming out, so you will get the Knock vs. Ride with a Stranger commentary if you are if and only you are a patron. But it also helps me do this, publicize the show, make flyers, make stickers, fix computer problems that happen now or later, do all sorts of stuff. So I'm sorry if it is lagging. I hope I'm not doing that. But it just helps me do things, as well as super chats, where I will read out for your super chat and take an amazing drink of Toxic Rick. I think that's it. But if you or anyone you know, if you are watching this and if you're financially able to do, if you're financially able to do those things, I very much appreciate it. If not, just giving a like on this video, or watching, or subscribing. You get all sorts of cool stuff from subscribing, where you get my community posts, you get all sorts of neat stuff. You also know when my videos come out, and that is always pretty cool. And I always appreciate, if you're just watching it and that's all you can do, thank you for your support in any way possible. I very much appreciate anything you can do. Is really cool. The can blends into it. Yeah, it does. What the hell, Toxic Rick? All right. The other thing is the Discord, which is run very well by Zane Powers and Austin. They do a great job. They had a movie night last night where they watched the Elvira movie. They do that almost every Friday. At some point I should stop in. I don't know when, but I should do that. They also have things like a licensed playing card channel, where if I ever get new ones, I have the Spirited Away ones now. I will post that. I think I said Elvira thing. It's you can also see Cornbread does thumbnail predictions in the general chat. I also ask people what I should talk about on Movie Crap Live. It's interactive. If you like the chat, if you are sitting there and like, I love watching the show, I would love to hang out with the people in the chat. You can anytime. It's on the Discord. You can ask me questions. I am pretty good, not in the last month, because last month was unfairly stupid, at answering them. I will get to it if it's there. Lost media stuff. It's a great community. I'm very proud of what Austin Zane Powers have done. They really, sorry, this is novelty playing card. I apologize, listen. But they do a great job and run a great community. And if you would like to be a part of it, I very much recommend you do so. Lucas Anderson, thank you for the super chat. You said, yo, I'm back. Favorite musical of mine. Cheers to you, first off, for the super chat. Actually, I'm going to watch a new musical tomorrow because I've never seen Newsies. We're going to watch that tomorrow night. But my favorite musical it's probably, I watched a lot of Sound of Music as a kid. I would say that one, or Rocky Horror, or Little Shop. I guess I could say a Disney movie, but I feel like that's sort of, I don't know. One of those. I would say, let's say, I don't know. That's a tough one. I almost want to say either that, Wizard of Oz is up there. Adrian. Yeah, one of one of those. I would probably be very basic about what my favorite musical is. It might be just Sound of Music, but Rocky Horror's up there, Little Shop's up there. Yeah, I think it would be one of those, I guess. Anyway, thank you, Adrian, for the super chat. Cheers to you. I'm always actually pro free Palestine, but I don't think either side should be murdering people. But I've always been no. It's okay. It's okay to have that on there, Austin. But thank you for asking. But I agree with that sentiment, Adrian. No, yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, let's move on. If you are not following me on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Reels, both. I'm on Instagram, both personal and Reels, Twitter, Tumblr. There's a Facebook fan page. It's all in the description if you would like to do so. But let's get into the fucking show. Sorry, I feel like my intro's gone for a little bit, so I apologize. If you're watching this later, there's ways to skip all this dumb shit if you're into it. Maybe I should get better at that. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's talk about Rick and Morty's new voices first. I watched this on Sunday night. Maybe was it the last thing I watched on cable? Probably. I do have a TikTok. It's just the shorts, but it's on TikTok. So if you watch me on YouTube, you basically get everything. But if you are on TikTok and you want to see the shorts, you can watch it there. I did watch it. This is, probably the last Adult Swim premiere I watched while having cable. So that's historic for me. But I didn't watch the end of the last season. I sort of had fallen off from it. I just wasn't as into it. Sorry, that coughed me off guard. Okay. Bloxy Oxowinkle came out with a super chat, said, "Is Mr. Tubi a big Kevin James fan?" Important info. Of course Mr. Tubi is a big Kevin James fan. In fact, Tommy Tubi loves Kevin James and wants all of the off-brand, like Kevin James's horror movie. He bought a package of Kevin James skits. Anything Kevin James does, he's had the Zookeeper 2, all that shit. Tommy Tubi will buy anything Kevin James. Of course, Tommy Tubi is a Kevin James fan. In fact, there was a movie of Tommy Tubi. Kevin James would be the first choice. That's the first call they would make. And then they would call like the lesser people like Daniel Day-Lewis or like Robert De Niro or something. But Kevin James fucking first. Cheers to you, Black Seahawks. It was nice to see you. I didn't see you in the chat before, so that was a nice little surprise. But Rick and Morty, I had fallen off, but I wanted to hear the new voices. It was a fine episode itself. It actually had a guest star from actual Hugh Jackman, but the thing is, Jan Harmon actually wrote the Oscars. Hugh Jackman hosted and won an Emmy for it and made a joke about, that's funny when award shows win award shows. When award shows win awards at award shows. But so that's, he knew Hugh Jackman. But it was interesting. Hugh Jackman was on Rick and Morty and the story was not about him. But the new voices, my only real criticism, and it's not really a criticism, my big thing is I didn't really hear Morty. It was mostly Rick. Morty had a few lines and seemed okay, whereas I really got to know the Rick voice, and I think that's a fine voice and stuff. The Morty voice, we barely got that much time with. So I know people are saying like they're great. I'm like, I don't feel confident in signing off on having much an opinion on the Morty voice, not because I have any issue with him, more because I barely got his performance in terms of the other person. So I thought that was a bit ridiculous, frankly, for people to be saying that. But I like the voices. My only other thing is comparing it to Justin Roiland. Is Justin Roiland, when he did the voices, had a sense of chaos to him, and Rick and Morty in this iteration don't. They feel very contained. They feel like confident actors trying to emulate chaos rather than actually being chaos. And it felt like anything could happen, whereas this didn't feel that way. The vibe of it didn't feel that way. The writing is the same, and I know Dan Harmon had in interviews mentioned that they were kind of going to tailor the writing more towards those voices, and it seems like they didn't. They were like writing before it was cast, which I don't. So it's sort of like they admittedly made it an awkward fit. So I think that is, fine. But I do think the thing with them is if you're like some dude who's like doesn't pay attention to entertainment news and you're like, oh, new Rick and Morty, cool. I bet you wouldn't notice. That's most of the time when they do recasts like this, you fucking wouldn't notice. So I don't think you would notice necessarily. Do I think it is a good... It's still decent to me. I thought it was a good, decent episode. I might watch the next one, not on cable because I don't have that anymore. But maybe I'll watch... I would like to kind of hear the Morty voice. Maybe I'll try to keep up with it. But between Loki and... Oh, man, I got to get to some of these... these super chats here. Thank you for your generosity, everyone. Between, like, Loki and other stuff I'm watching... and Scavengers Reign... and other stuff, Rick and Morty's a little lower on my... I didn't watch that and go, oh, I have to not watch Scavenger's Reign and I think I'm saying that right, and not watch Loki and not watch any and other stuff I'm doing for this. I was kind of like, did it to keep up with it, but it didn't... The other Rick and Morty's like I had to watch, and I don't think the vibe of the show is back. I think the voice casting is generally okay, but I just don't love the... I don't love the non-chaos. I wish they'd gotten maybe someone less actorly, but I think overall this is fine. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we have a lot of super chats, so I will get to these in the order that they're done. Lucas Anderson said, first off, cheers to you, Lucas Anderson. This is a serious question, so I'm going to take it seriously. Tubi's Kevin James versus Netflix's Adam Sandler. Motherfucker, Tubi always wins. If you look, here's the thing about Tubi. You put Tubi in a fight with anyone, Tubi will come on top because you think you're winning. You're like, I'm fighting Tubi. I was going down. Tubi's like taking all these punches for Netflix. You're like, yeah, motherfucker, what are you gonna do? And then Tubi's like, wait, did you not, Netflix, introduce an ad tier because of my shit? Am I misinformed, motherfucker? And then out of nowhere, they pull out an early VHS tape of the sequel to the orangutan Clint Eastwood movie. I forget the name of it. Doesn't matter. They don't know it either. It's probably unlabeled. That's how crazy Tubi is. And beat the living fuck out of Netflix. That's what would happen. That's what I just know that would... I know you know it would happen. Turn on Tubi. You get that vibe from Tubi. I think you do. That if Netflix and Tubi were in a fight, Tubi would beat the life out of Netflix with a VHS of a sequel to a Clint Eastwood movie with him and a monkey. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's a thing that they would do. That's what I think. I don't know. Anyway, moving on from that very same thing I just said. Austin said, in the same month, Austin, first off, cheers to you, sir. In the same month, Justin was replaced in his own video game as Lemon Grab and Fiona and Cake, and now Rick and Morty. That's true. And Solar Opposites was a while ago, but he's getting replaced everywhere. But fuck him. I mean, for everything we've heard about him. All right. Damn, checkmate. Catbot. First off, Catbot, thank you very much for the generosity. Question, Jim. That's very nice of you, by the way, Catbot158. Question, Jim. What matters more, finding new voice actors that sound the same as the OG voice actors, or finding actors with similar vibes? Rick and Morty did the former. New voice of Mario did the latter. That is actually that's a legitimately good question. Actually, I think most cartoons do what Rick and Morty did, and I was a little surprised how I feel like that was what they sort of wanted to go with. But part of me did think, like, why not go with something else? Like, why, but then you run the risk of changing the direction of your show. And they were claiming in interviews that this bought us, like, 20 more years and we'll run as long as The Simpsons. And we'll continue to be in every weed dispensary window for the ends of time. Which, why is that a thing so much? Like, can we get another character on those things? Like, I do not understand the weed obsession with Rick and Morty. Like, it's like the weirdest thing. Like, the Grateful Dead I get, but like, why Rick and Morty? Like, get some Aqua Teen. Aqua Teen's a bigger stoner show in my mind, but I guess it's just like every time you're like, Rick and Morty again? Like, was Felix the cat? Come on, he's a way more stone character. Anyway, but I understand what they were going through as a production, and obviously more financially, what they did. And Mario is a constant evolving thing, so it makes more sense. Because you don't want videos of people going, I'm sure there are somewhere, the new Rick and Morty voices are trash. Why season whatever the fuck they're in of Rick and Morty is the worst. And, and the main thing is like, Justin Roiland was the real heart of the show, despite not really having much involvement. It was interesting. One of the interviews they brought up, they're like, well, we knew it had to be two people because, Justin was having actually a real hard time mentally doing two voices. They're like, oh, that's an interesting little hiccup in this whole thing. Like, sort of making him weird, and he was getting upset a lot. I don't know. But anyway, we just thought for mental reasons we didn't. I was like, okay. Okay, you guys. All right. I think... Let's get back. I'm sorry if there was an ad right there. Let's talk about Gargoyles live action. Now, I am not super... Oh, Gary's here. I am not super into live action remakes. However, when I heard James Vaughn was involved in this Gargoyles live action remake, which is super weird, because I'm pretty sure he mostly deals at Universal now, and now he has a thing at Disney. Seemed to be a very random, very kind of, I don't know. It seems a little random for James Vaughn to be doing this, but he is doing a Gargoyles thing. I do think if he is doing a Gargoyles show, he's like his Aquaman movies, the first one is sort of like this random crazy aesthetic. I think Malignant is the better version of him like pushing things to these bizarre, insane degree. So him being in charge, at least I'll get something interesting. I'm pretty sure like he's an interesting producer and director. Like he, him and I forget if Blumhouse is involved in Atomic Monsters or what the deal is with that. But I do think, like, I'm optimistic. Like, when I heard James Vaughn was involved, I was like, this could be cool, and everything I've heard about it seems interesting. Obviously, they're just starting. But I think, like, also that Disney would go, let's get James Vaughn, and they have to know, like, what he is capable of. So that the Malignant guy is making a Gargoyles show, I'm at least sort of interested, even though it is live action. So we're going to get into the SAG stuff. So if you're watching this later, you can skip over this, but I'm just gonna get into it, and then So, the SAG strike that is still going on, that we all thought when the WGA contract, which still needs to be ratified, but most likely will pass to everyone's understanding. Everyone thought SAG will be wrapped up in a few weeks, and that has just not been the case. The basic thing which went on with SAG. And I'll get to the celebrity thing later, which I think people have been a little misled on for a variety of reasons. But first off, I should say I'm in support of the strike. I do think there should be a strike. I have issues with the leadership and what they're doing, and I will voice those concerns. But I 100% think they should be striking, and I just I don't know. So basically what happened is they were meeting with the AMPTP. They are meeting again on Tuesday. But supposedly apparently what happened is negotiations were actually going pretty well. And then SAG's negotiating committee pulled out this thing to get a piece of the streaming revenue. Basically meaning that they would get a lien on every subscribe. Like when you pay, let's say you pay $10 in theory for whatever streaming service that the actors or SAG would get 2% of that. And that was sort of like a random thing they pulled out towards the end that the AMPTP was not prepared for. You could say that, I think you could look at that one in both ways, because one, it was like a thing that the AMPTP was like, where the fuck did this come from? I think the AMPTP should have been like, no, and then kept negotiating. They instead got upset and left. I think it was a little ballsy of SAG management, particularly like this is not a time to be just pulling out random asks. It just seems weird. But I think the AMPTP, they're, leaders of business. And if someone pulls out that stuff, they should be able to move past it and not be big fucking babies about it. So I think both were it was a weird situation on both ends, but neither, I get what they're trying to do, but obviously they need to do this because of AI protection. Supposedly, I've heard they might not get as much as they want, but the negotiations are not over. So who knows what day that information got leaked. I did see the thing with the prom movie. It looked horrible. I don't understand, because it's like, is this actually more cost effective than paying someone barely any money to stand in the back of a movie? Like, I just find that to be odd. Like, I don't see it. And I really don't understand this AI thing, because it's like, is anyone making any money off of AI to an extreme degree to hold up this much industry? Like, it's like if there was a Star Wars or Avatar level box office success using nothing but Avatar, I would sort of get where they're coming from. But like most tech nowadays, it feels highly speculative, and like to hold up everything for this stupid thing is insane to me, because we're just not there. Like, I still don't get. Like, the thing in prom looks horrible. Like, none of it looks good enough yet. And everyone's like, well, one day it'll look good. And I'm like, okay, but are we there yet now? Like, it's not 1982 and you're trying to make a computer animated film. Like, that wouldn't really work then. But in 1995, you could. And I'm like, yes, it is coming. And that's why they're on strike, to prevent this stuff from getting out of hand. And you're like, I don't know, any day now. And I'm like, I'm not going to hold my breath for something that's maybe 5 to 10 years away from really making a difference. I find that to be bizarre. I know that's a side point. It's like, I think like pictures, sure, but whatever. Blame Ted Lasso. What? I'm a little confused about that one. Anyway, the celebrities thing didn't work for a couple of reasons. One, all these celebrities led by George Clooney and Tyler Perry, who is like notoriously anti-union. Maybe he went into the wrong Zoom call. I'm not sure about that one. That is whatever. But they all got together and they said what their idea is that their being nice performative celebrities idea is basically, I'll hold on. Let me explain the celebrity thing before I do that. But thank you. That's very nice of you, Senator. Basically what they're doing is the people on the bottom of the call sheet would get paid first, and the people at the top who would get more money would be paid last, and the people who are making more than $1 million, who are paying $1 million in dues based on the amount of money they're earning and stuff, would put in a little bit more, adding $50 million more to SAG and helping things with like health insurance, which is a separate thing that SAG fucked up, which is really not a part of this. And it's like, we could get into the ins and outs of SAG. So this didn't work for like a number of reasons. One is, the first off is that SAG is like, well, we need the studios to pay us more, not rich actors. Like, that's sort of not how this works. The other sort of bigger thing is they're a federally regulated and a registered union, and to be that, they actually cannot get more money from their union members. They have to get that from the company. So legally, they can't do that. Apparently, nobody who worked on this thing, who has like assistants and lawyers, no one went, oh shit, you actually legally, they can't even do this if we wanted them to. We just came up with this well-organized plan. And Fran Drescher and several people at SAG were like, yeah, we can't actually do this, man. Like, what are you doing? I thought that was my favorite part when I kept reading on about it, is they're like, we actually can't do this. So why did you think this was a thing? And when SAG was like, you guys could like go on the picket lines and become strike captains, or like do something in support of SAG, like publicly. And then they all like looked sad and went away and just didn't do anything. So good job, rich actors, because this was a bomb. In addition, SAG, let's do Sinram's very nice super chat, and then I will talk about Halloween costumes, I guess. Sinram says, if they collect enough personas, then they won't need to keep collecting them. They'll just keep using the same few hundred personas as background from now until doomsday. First off, that's very generous of you, Cinnamon. Thank you very much. That's what I've heard, and they have a few collected. I think they would have to collect new ones and stuff like that at a certain point, because then I'm sure they wouldn't. They want it to look, but I don't know how many. I do agree with that. That idea, and that's what's going to happen, and that is a thing that SAG has been fighting, and I agree with, and I'm not going to disagree with them on that at all. But that is kind of what they want, especially for the background stuff, which is like, why save money on background actor? Like, those aren't made. Like, how much is that costing you? Like, I don't understand. Whatever, man. It's just such a silly thing. But yeah, they will just keep having them as, take someone's identity and look and make them into a, used for the studio for now until eternity. And that's really what SAG is trying to fight, is like people, like, would you want people making money off of your image, or basically not giving you money for your image from now until, like, your grandchildren are around, or what, that many generations removed? Like, that's horrifying, and how much could they update it if they just own it? I just find it completely bizarre. But anyway, thank you, Super Chat. Thank you, Cinnamon, for the Super Chat. The last thing with SAG, so I don't love how SAG gets so. The WGA is a little more well run than SAG, I will say, but SAG saying, like, for Halloween costumes, are we going to, don't use any struck work. Don't dress up as anything that's struck. Although apparently animation is not. So you can dress up as Rick and Morty, or, anything. That's fine, apparently. But you can't, live action struck work you can't do. I just, like, I don't get the methodology, SAG. I think that's kind of silly. I don't really understand that one. I don't think that's really, I think it's just you guys being annoying. I think it's just like a weird thing, and the AMPTP is going to use it to make you look crazy. It's just like, there's no way that looks good. I also don't think, SAG has also gotten so weird. I know people are like, should I go to this? I want to be an actor one day. Will SAG, like, find out and never let me in? Like the fact that SAG has added that aura to themselves, I really don't think is helpful, and I don't think works for them, because the AMPTP is trying to put out stories about how crazy they are, and I think they're leaning in too much with stuff like that, and I wish they just would, because it's just like, guys, like, come on, please don't. I expect a lot of Bluey this Halloween, I do. Zane Power says, when are we getting the AI James Dean movie? That is a good callback. Cheers to you. I don't know what happened to that. Every now and then I think about that, but I've never Googled it. So if anyone has an update, I'd love to know. What a horrible idea. Anyway. So moving on. John Lasseter, you remember him? He, like, used to run Pixar and junk. He, his studio that formerly was at Apple, Skydance Animation, Apple has stopped their deal with Skydance Animation. So that's good. They finally, if you're thinking, oh, that's great, they're finally, making, not working with John Lasseter. Good for Apple, except, I'm watching the movie version, Ramsey the Artist, by the way. It was canceled. Damn, we don't get our AI James Dean movie. But apparently Netflix then did sign with Skydance Animation, and their movie Spellbound, which was previously going to be at Apple, it will now be at Netflix in 2024. So if you ever thought, even though Luck, I don't think did that well, although I know a bunch of kids that watched it, actually, but it didn't do that well. I missed... What? Did I? Where was it? Oh my god. I'm sorry, Nathaniel Foga. Thank you for saying something. I feel really bad about that. First off, cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. I think... Well, no, because Tommy Tubi... Jim Jr. is too pro-cop and crazy and conservative, and Tommy Tubi is liberal as fuck and would not get along with Jim Jr. They would not be friends at all. Tommy Tubi is too passive and smart, and Jim Jr. is a buffoon. So I don't think they would get along at all. Thank you for that, Nathaniel Foga. Apologize for that. That's not cool of me. Anyway, Tommy Tubi, the power of speaking of Tommy Tubi confused me clearly. But it was also an Vietnam AI. God, that would sound so awful. But so Skydance Animation has moved to Netflix. I know Netflix, and I'm not really getting into that tonight. I know people suggested it though. I am going to talk about Jon Stewart's show shortly, actually. It seems like he will continue to just keep getting deals, and Skydance Animation as well, because he's John Lasseter. I hope Spellbound is better than Luck, which was not great by any means. All right, so next up is Markopilar. Believe it or not, couldn't figure out how to. No, Oscar's my son. Jim Jr. is a crazy character I made before he was even, or he was even an idea. Brad Bird's project, Jesus. I mean, I would like Brad Bird's project to happen. I guess it will happen at Netflix now. So Markopilar was almost going to be in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which I think could. That's a situation with that one, because that could have honestly done a lot better. I think had Five Nights at Freddy's not done the Peacock thing, I think it actually could open to maybe even 70. But so many people I know are like, I'm just going to watch it at home. I'll just sign up for Peacock, or if it's on Peacock, it's going to be easy to torrent and stuff like that. So I don't really know why they did that. It could probably open bigger. I think it is going to be a bigger movie than people realize, because even I'm probably too old for Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I think it's for the young kids, but I hear people in the subway talking about it. Like, there's a real buzz, I think, bigger than, I think Universal sort of messed up on that one. But, or, if they can get enough people to sign up for Peacock, I guess. But I don't think that methodology is going to work. However, Markiplier was going to almost be in it, but he couldn't figure out, because he's working on that, I think it was that YouTube channel that disappeared or something. Whatever. He wasn't in it, and I just want to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's for a little bit. In other news, before we get into, maybe I'll do one and then Jon Stewart, because you made me think about it, and then my brain's ready for it. But Aqua Teen is coming back on November 26th on Adult Swim, next day on Max. This is a 5-episode season, making it the longest running Adult Swim show of all time, I believe. I'm excited for new episodes of Aqua Teen. Maybe I will actually get around to reviewing and seeing the Phantasm movie, which I didn't see. I am surprised because we were hearing about the Venture Brothers coming back, and then I think Jackson Public actually went and said Venture Brothers are not coming back. I heard more talk of the Venture Brothers of the 3 movies, the least being Death Clock, which is fine because that's kind of the end thing anyway, but it's kind of, I thought Death Clock was a little bigger than that. But anyway, but it's cool that Aqua Teen is going to be coming back. I'm excited for that. I'll watch the 5 episodes. Maybe I will actually review Phantasm, because I've been like wanting to do it and needing a reason, and that is my reason. But let us get to fucking Aqua Teen. Aqua Teen rules, man. I've loved Aqua Teen since Adult Swim started and I was watching it. So, all right, let's get to the Super Chats here. Tunjay723 said, bad news. While the AI James Dean movie Finding Jack was canceled, there's another one that was announced in August called Back to Eden. No. That's like naming a movie Rebel with a Cause or Giant 2. Was he in more than 3 movies? It was just 3, right? Back to Eden. Fucking shit. Jesus. I've wanted to just do all the James Dean movies, because there's only 3, and I think he did some TV productions. That would be an easy series, and I liked those as a kid. he doesn't get enough credit for like doing some. Well, I guess he does. He's an icon. So Giant fucking rules. Giant is the one I hear. The Giant is great. He's good and all. East of Eden's a little melodramatic, but Back to Eden. Whatever. Cheers to you, Tune J723. Thank you for telling us. Nattenbach 664, another super chat said, "Will you be seeing the Eras Tour film?" I am not, because I'm actually seeing the Eras Tour next year. So I chose not to. I thought about it. I will be talking about some interesting things with the Eras Tour movie, which you didn't know about, but I will not be seeing it. But cheers to you. Thank you very much. And let's see. Bloxy Oxenwinkle says, remake Tommy Boy with Mr. Tubi and Kevin James. Tommy Tubi does not act. Tommy Tubi is strictly a financial genius. He's been asked many times. He was almost in Goodfellas when he was younger. He's older than me. Whoever is age appropriate to be in Goodfellas. He was almost in the Joe Pesci movie, something duffel bag. He doesn't even know the title. That's how he described it. He was almost in Ralph Bakshi's Cool World as Brad Pitt's character. He was almost in plenty of movies, Tommy Tubi, but he would not be in Tommy Boy, but he would do a Tommy Boy adventure in real life with Kevin James. So if you could convince cameras to be around and do like a reality show thing, that Tommy Tubi would do. And cheers to you, Black Sea Oxenwinkle. All right. Like Ryan Watson said, I met James Dean's bus at the observatory in LA. That's all I got. Was almost the star of Hudson Hawk? Sure, he could have been that too. All right. So we're going to do a big chunk about Marvel, Deadpool 3, all that stuff. So Deadpool 3 has been delayed, but also just taken off the calendar. It is not like, here. Sorry. Okay, I'll get you after Deadpool 3. Here's Deadpool, and we're moving it to this date. They just took it off its date and haven't moved it. The next Marvel movie is in July with Captain America. I thought it was Brave New World or New World Order or something. Whatever that new Captain America where Anthony Mackie's Captain America is coming out in July. There's rumors that could be moved up. There's rumors it won't. Apparently it is done shooting, whereas Deadpool 3 is halfway done shooting and is not ready, won't be ready in time. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. It seems to be a big thing with Deadpool 3. We'll see what's going on with it and what Marvel plans to do. But I think that is a pretty major release to say we can't get this done in time and for Disney to let that happen. But that is what the AMPTP has done. It seems like the Captain America movie will come out, but I'd be highly suspect of any other big movies that are not done for next summer. And I think that'll hurt Marvel because Deadpool 3 is obviously kind of a big release they sort of need right now. But before I get into more of that, Zane Fowler says, remake Rebel Without a Cause with Ninja. I'm not sure if you mean the YouTuber Ninja or actual ninjas. However, you said ninja, and that with the YouTuber Ninja sounds horrible. However, I would say with ninjas in Rebel Without a Cause, that would be a plus. But getting Ninja, the blue-haired guy who is in my grocery store all the time, he doesn't shop there. I just always see him pictures of that fucking doofus on like Red Bulls and stuff at the grocery store, and I'm like, why? I don't understand. You eat cereal and drink Red Bulls or something? I don't get it. Anyway, actual ninja. It should be actual ninjas, but I think if it was both, I hope actual ninjas kick Ninja in the face and say, get out of Jim's grocery store. No one will understand the context, but I will laugh, and that's important to me. Anyway, cheers to you if I didn't do that. Oh man, we might actually kill an energy drink. That'd be cool. All right. There's been a lot of talk about the Marvels opening. Same just said, I mean, the YouTuber, he's the modern equivalent of James Dean, isn't he? No. The Marvels, I think, got a lot of press because the projections say it'll open about, like, I think 60 to 70, which would be half of what Captain Marvel got in its box office, as it is sort of a sequel to Captain Marvel, but not. I think the thing with the Marvels is, one, it is not just a sequel to Captain Marvel. Two, Captain Marvel came out between Infinity War and Endgame, when Marvel hype was at an all-time high. And also, like, most people, I have to explain to them who Ms. Marvel and the other Captain Marvel, who's not Brie Larson, is. So I think there's, like, some of that which isn't being taken into account. But obviously, there's been a lot of press on what's been happening with Marvel. Before I get to that, Austin said in the super chat, or Lee Van Cleef from Master Ninja. Oh, I love Master Ninja. Nice Mystery Science Theater reference. Cheers to you. And I like Lee Van Cleef. But there's been a lot of talk, especially among YouTube people, because Loki recaps have not been bringing in the views. So they're, of course, like, what happened? I honestly, I think the main thing is, with all of that, I am going to see the Marvels with my daughter. I'm excited, to be honest with you. It seems like a cool concept. But I think what happened with Marvel is, one, you can't stay on top forever. That's silly. But also, the product has just not been as outstanding and hugely, like, oh my god, I can't believe this. They're doing this. Now, granted, what happened with Marvel, and there was a thing I retweeted this week, where it was like, the original plan for the Avengers in this phase was to have the Avengers be Captain Marvel with Brie Larson, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and Tom Holland as Spider-Man. They would lead the Avengers. And also, had James Gunn not been fired by Disney, I think this phase would have been a lot different. In addition to, they made too many fucking TV shows. It just sort of all came to, and ones that weren't good. And I think they made too much product that wasn't as eye-catching, and of characters that don't have as much hype behind them. And that's not, like, Ms. Marvel is probably the least popular of them, but she's getting a movie, and I think she deserves it. But they did it with too many things. Like, I think, like, something like Moon Knight, a show like Hawkeye, all those things are just, it just kind of kept diluting the brand. And I think the difference between comic book movies and actual comic books is, if you go into a comic book store, you can always get a Spider-Man comic, like a Batman comic, an X-Men comic, and all the major characters. But with comic book movies, you can't put out, there's some years you can't put those out, and they did too many things like that, and they made the continuity too thick because it's Marvel. And I think they need to get back to understanding, like, almost every year, or every at least 2 years, they need to have, because we're getting on 2 years since No Way Home, and Black Panther 2 seems to be this thing that, like, most people are kind of weird about, but it's still, like, generally well liked. But I think most people are like, I don't know about it. It's sort of like this weird situation with that. And so I think a lot of them, they didn't like this, they didn't like that, and, like, the normies sort of got out of it because it felt too complicated. I think Marvel needs to just, even though Guardians 3, good movie, totally muted response. So I think they just need to build the brand back up. And I think, like, Loki's been good, No Way Home was good. There's certain, I don't think this is a total wash, but I think, like, when you have too many things like Black Widow, I was fine with Doctor Strange. Most people weren't really into that. But the difference between that, like, you need more consistency. You need the stories to work better. But I think their plan currently is going to work. But I don't see, like, Fantastic Four becoming a box office hit as much as I understand there's a lot of, they want to get it right. But to me, it's like, you have the Avengers movies, and then whatever's happening with X-Men. I think those are the things that the public's going to get excited for. Everything else, like, those are cool characters, and I'm not trying to talk shit, or I liked some of those movies, like Shang-Chi had its moments and stuff, but I think they really need to build the brand back up of things that people will be excited about. And it doesn't seem like newer characters are working as well, I hate to say. So I kind of think the Marvels will do better because there isn't as much stuff in November, so I think the long box office will do better than people, it's like, yeah, it made 70 that week, but it doesn't have Dune 2 to compete with the next weekend. So it's probably going to do okay. To be honest with you, like, it's going to probably play pretty well until Thanksgiving. So I think that should be taken into account. But I do think a lot of this is just like, you need to have those big hyped movies and those characters. Like, I can't believe they're doing this. And I don't think anyone's saying that with like Thunderbolts and, I think Shang-Chi, it's that one I think worked. I have my reservation towards the end and stuff, but I think it's like what was before. Oh, Ant-Man, Quantumania, I think really hurt the brand, stuff like that. So I think we need to give us the hype. It has to be something like, I can't believe they're doing this, and now you're like, oh, they're doing this. It's like you need to bring that anticipation back, and I think they will. But right now, I think people like, it was too big. It's become too obnoxious. Like I think it was too overwhelming in the public. Honestly, I think they should have taken more of a break. But so maybe Deadpool being delayed will work out for them in a way. We'll see. All right. So if you didn't hear about Jon Stewart's show, I know I've not talked about it at all, and I'm not the biggest Jon Stewart fan, but he had a show at Apple, which effectively was like he wanted to do the John Oliver show because he realized John Oliver came out and his kids were like, man, there was a Tubi ad. Oh my God, I love it. That his kids were quoting. Did I miss a super chat? No, I got to that one. Okay. No, I'm paranoid. But Jon Stewart in the next season of the show wanted to talk about China, and he wanted to talk about AI, and Apple was like, we can't let you do that. We're just going to cancel the show. And it seems like the way it's been written about, that Jon Stewart was not going to back down about these things. They're like, well, you just canceled. We're not a content company. We're a tech company, and we need China and AI, and get fucked, basically. And that's sort of how that went down. It's unfortunate, but it kind of shows you, like, even though Apple has a huge movie this weekend with Killers of the Flower Moon that, despite it being distributed by Paramount, is made and paid for by Apple, if they don't want to make that kind of content, then they just won't. They'll just say, this is not of our best interest. It's kind of a thing that we should probably worry about as we're seeing media companies being consolidated. How if they want to silence narratives on things, they just will be able to. And there's larger issues with that if you look at what's happening with Israel and Palestine, and how Elon Musk owns X and has been frequently letting misinformation and propaganda go out there. And it seems like the rich are letting the messages be controlled a lot more like it used to be, not like it is on the free internet. And that's a bigger issue that we'll probably see more ramifications of in the future. So what I'm telling you, and I'm like being serious here, is what's going on with the Jon Stewart show is something that we're probably going to see more often, and it's going to be depressing, and that news is depressing, and I'm sorry. Anyway, realistically, that is just the way it is with this, unfortunately. But John Oliver still has a better show. However, what was I going to say? What are we talking about? Oh, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. I found a way to talk about it. Every YouTuber has a new show, talks about her. But these are actually interesting things. I did not know these things, so I'm just going, if you knew these things, fine. I didn't make this the main thing because of it. One is obviously the specialty pricing. I think I mentioned that before. If you're an adult, it's $19.89 because she had an album called that. And then if you're a minor, it's $13.13 because she likes the number 13 or something. That one I don't get as much, but maybe I like her music, but I'm not a Swiftie person. Or I'm not I guess I enjoy the music, but I'm not a crazy person about it. However, the other thing I didn't know is if the Eras Tour is only playing at certain days of the week. Like, you can't see it on, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I think it's just Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And I know Christopher Nolan and other filmmakers are like, oh, look what she did. She circumvented the studios. But again, when I'm talking about, companies and power, the fact that she has the power to, or any studio has the power to say, oh, I'm going to distribute this, but you can't play it on these certain days because I want to maximize my profits. So if you actually look at the box office for the day box office, Tuesday box office, I think Exorcist Believer still got to be number one because the Eras Tour wasn't playing anywhere. So it's sort of a weird situation. I don't love what this opens up. because other studios could do this and majorly hurt theaters during the week. As much as everyone's like, yay, it's helping theaters. I'm like, yeah, I mean, not on Wednesday or like Tuesday or like days, they can still also need money. Like, I mean, they're still getting that money for the week, but it's like, I don't love the precedent of this. I don't love the specialty pricing. Like, who's to say like Christopher Nolan won't do this, for example? Who's to say another, Marvel won't be like, well, you want to see Deadpool 3, bitch? You got to pay $20. Like, I don't love that people are so into this thing. Like, I'd also like to see, and one thing box office numbers aren't going to, like, how much this specialty pricing is affecting those numbers. If we actually had how many tickets are sold versus how much money is being brought in, we could tell those sort of things. But as of right now, they don't do that. I do agree sometimes with like how many tickets sold would be a little more interesting than how much money. So there is kind of the idea that, that's not even getting to IMAX, is just regular screens. It's another thing where it's like, I think it's interesting in a certain showmanship idea, but at the same time, I kind of think I don't love what it's opening up. And, if it's like her and Beyonce who have similar deals, just do that, and no one else does, then fine. It was like this cool showmanship thing. But as soon as like studios do it and they take a highly anticipated movie, like whenever the next Star Wars comes out, whenever, whatever big movie next summer that has a lot of hype behind it, or like, what if Dune 2 does that? What if and it's like, and I'm not even saying like with IMAX, you're paying a premium because you get that big screen or 3D or whatever. But if it's just like, here's movie and pay more for movie, I don't love that. So I do worry about that. I think that is a bad precedent. I get that it's like, haha, $19.99 and it's cheaper than going to the Eras tour. Yeah, but like, it's opening up a weird thing that it's like, I get she, took advantage of the Paramount Accord thing and and it was very smart, but the certain day thing, I'm like, why are you doing that? It's like, maybe she was like, man, I hope the creator makes more money. We got to make sure the weekday box office of the creator goes up. I don't want to fuck with that shit. Maybe she's a big creator fan. Maybe that's the whole thing. All right. Let's make some headway. Some of this is clearing things. Well, let's talk about Best Buy and DVDs, because Best Buy came out this week, last week, recently, and said they were no longer going to be selling DVDs at their physical stores, and they'll also be phasing it out, being sold at their on their shop. The only one I ever bought from their shop was a Halloween Blu-ray for the movie Halloween, which was the only one that I could get with the Deborah Hill commentary, because before she died, the Blu-ray has her commentary, and I really wanted to hear it. And I have that somewhere. Although the other thing with that, and what I'll get to about this Halloween Blu-ray, is I think, look, I like having physical media. I do have a certain amount of physical media. I haven't asked for a Blu-ray or DVD in a while, just because, I mean, I have 2 kids. Like, my life has as you can probably tell if you follow this channel and and have followed it for a while, my contacts become a lot more sporadic just because of my life and stuff. So it's just not something I can, I'll probably get across the Spider-Verse, but I'll probably feel silly because I know it's just going to sit on a shelf and we'll probably watch it on Netflix before we watch it on streaming as a family, or before we watch it on Blu-ray. I still have a Blu-ray player. I still have a DVD player. I still have a VHS player, motherfucker. So don't even test me about the physical media stuff. However, at the same time, I have a VHS player from 2001? I think my grandfather, who's no longer alive. Sorry, you know what? I'm going to do this side tangent because I don't know. My grandfather knew I was going to film school, and I used to work for him, like help around the house. It was like my sort of side job. And, fuck it. I'll tell the story. And back in the day when I was a kid, your grandparents got you one present, and it'd be a little more than a thing your parents would get you. And I worked for my grandfather, and he would pay me. It was like a job. He was nice about it. He also bought me lunch at a KFC. He didn't want my grandma knowing he ate out for some reason. Whatever. But he has died. He died right when Knock first started and all that. But he got me a VCR, and all the kids were upset. And he was like, he's going to film school. It's for school. I don't want to hear anything else about it. And everyone shut the fuck up. And I remember, because he was like, this is a school purchase. He needs to watch movies. He gets his VCR. And I always thought that was cool of him to do that. I did not ask for a VCR. Apparently he asked my dad to make sure no one else was getting it, but I just want to say, anyway, I just, anytime I think about VCR, I think of how cool it was that my grandfather got me that VCR, and I still have it. I don't have the remote, don't know where that happened, but if anytime, it's not the most amazing VCR, I know that, I know enough about VCRs, but I will keep that thing until it like bursts into flames, because he was cool enough to do that for me. And he was a good guy. Not a lot of people got to know him that well, but I got to hang out with him a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. And also the money, I bought Kid A with some of that work money. I remember that too. Sorry, this is just becoming, Jim had a cool job and Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP. I was like, I got paid. We're going to Record and Tape Traders. All right, anyway, sorry. That's for anyone from Maryland. Remember Record and Tape Traders in the chat. Nathaniel Focus said, the instantly remember, oh, I don't want to get up and go through where it is, but actually Ryan, oh man, let me do this and I'll, okay, first off, cheers to you, Nathaniel Fogus said, this instantly reminds me of the Knock 4 short. Which Knock 4 short, by the way? I'm curious which one. Was there a VCR one? Oh, is it the Robin Hood one about the Bible? Is that the one? Tell me which one it is. Anyway, cheers to you, Nathaniel Fogus. So, if you remember, I made a video about how Ryan sent me all this Alf stuff, and I think it was like last week, I got a package, and I didn't know what it was, and I opened it up, and it was the Alf Complete Series DVDs, and I was like, Ryan, seriously, what more Alf stuff? And he was like, I actually got it before, and we both forgot about it, so it's kind of funny. I did get I did not get to watch it, unfortunately, but I do appreciate it. Sorry, I don't want to get up and like have you guys hear me. Anyway, we're talking about Best Buy. Remember that? So Best Buy, here's my thing with physical media. I think most people go to streaming. I know people get weird about, Angry Best Buy. God damn it, why did I think of that? It's not like I was in it and did the mouse and stuff and should remember these things. I think the problem with physical media is when the hype of physical media, I used to, basically what I do for every Christmas, I would just get people movies and be like, here's a movie I think you would like. But I had to stop doing it because people just got rid of their DVD players because everything's streaming now. I know a lot of people are like, I always wanted every Simpsons season on DVD, or I always wanted every of this show on DVD, and then they stopped doing it. Unfortunately, that is not going to change. I do think a lot of studios will keep making DVDs because collectors will buy them, but it's not going to be like it was before, obviously. I would recommend making a digital collection. I've started doing that with kind of a Drive and Plex. I think that's supposed to be I think that's probably the best way to do it nowadays, is if you have certain movies, like either rip them off what you already have, or get them legally, or do things like that, because that's probably the best way to do it now to collect movies. Unfortunately, if you're still into that, that's fine. I do think it's sad because I liked going into the cheap bin at Best Buy, and I like buying Spider-Man 3 on Blu-ray now that I can reference Angry Best Buy and remember that was a thing that I made. So I think, the Spider-Man 3 reference is a knock force. I even referenced in Vagina Street, in Marriage Magazine. It's just like, what, the worst Spider-Man movie gets referenced. Well, it's not the worst. Is the worst one Far From Home, or is the worst one Amazing Spider-Man 2? Well, it's of the Sam Raimi's, it's the worst. And also Adrian brought up rent movies at the library. I'm very pro-library. I'll get into that later, actually. But it is sad to see it go. I think it's understandable. I doubt Amazon will get rid of them. I bet you the larger retailers won't. But I think Best Buy just needs to, they're losing shelf space, and they're probably just like, we need to save money, and this is just not working for us anymore. So it's unfortunate, it sucks, but I don't think the cheap DVD bins of the past can exist any longer. And RIP to you, Best Buy DVDs. All right, The Boy and the Heron voice cast came out. This is coming out, I think in December, I forget. It has a pretty stacked voice cast. The dub was made, the English dub was made with agreement from SAG-AFTRA, dubbing, whatever. And there'll be previews on November 2nd, but it will formally come out on December 8th. You have people like, I'm a little confused. Are they playing the same people from before some of these? I'm a little lost on that, and I don't want to know. But you have people like Gemma Chan, Christian Bale, Dave Bautista, Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, Florence Pugh, and Mark Hamill, who's the one I'm honestly most excited about. If you know me, I'm just excited for Miyazaki's new movie. I don't know much about the plot or anything really, and I think it could be cool. I don't think there's much more to say about that, other than I think it's a good voice cast. I hope they utilize them well. I will probably just see the one I can get to see, but I'd like to see it in the original Japanese the first time. So I hope I am able to do that. So I know I'm doing, I'm sort of between Exorcist reviews right now, because I got the 73 Exorcist review out. My next review will probably be Exorcist Believer, but I wanted to talk about this because it needs to be cleared up, because I've seen it in so many places and it's sort of misreported in most of them. So you probably heard this idea that the Exorcist movie rights were bought for $400 million by Universal for David Gordon Green to make this trilogy. That is not... The $400 million part is correct, but it is not how much they paid to get the rights. The $400 million part is basically what studios and stuff call a package, which is basically like the movie rights, the stars, the directors, all that stuff. $400 million is what they're going to spend on movie rights, cast, production. I've heard advertising is in there. I think that might not be true, but no one was 100% sure, because Universal, believe it or not, does not send me their contracts for their movies. But to my understanding, there is more in that $400 million than just movie rights. So everyone's saying that they've spent $400 million. Like they haven't actually done that. We suspect it might be up to $200 million. It might be more than $200 million just on the rights, because the Exorcist Believer, I think, costs like $40 million. But also in that is apparently what we do know is projected of like bonuses and actual like raises. So Leslie Odom Jr., Ellen Burstyn, Linda Blair, they will be getting more money for the second one. Okay, and that was worked out in this overall thing for that $400 million. So when people say they spent $400 million to get their rights and then they had to pay for production, no, they didn't. $400 million is all of that together. It is, to clear that up, it is basically like when a studio says we have this package of cast, stars, writers, all that stuff. That's what it all counts together, and that's what this trilogy is. Why they announced it in such a dumbass, weird way, I wish they hadn't, because now everyone under the sun just looked at the $400 million and went, that's what it is, and that's not actually what it is. So just to clear that up, if you hear that, they didn't read the article thoroughly, basically. That's what this is. I just wanted to clear that up because I was aware of that, and I wanted to tell you guys. We should probably hurry up so I can take a break soon. We're kind of close to... Yes, okay. So this is a quick one. Sorry, I just wanted to clear it because it bugged me. Once I learned that, I was like, oh, it's not, they didn't spend $400 million? I don't know if I said that in my review or not, but I'm definitely cutting it now because I brought that up. Two quick ones. Phineas and Serb, apparently, according to the creators, is probably... They said it'll probably, not we wrote it and we know it is, going to be the following summer from the first one. So because the first one, it's basically the same show as before. We've got a lot of the same stuff, and we realize we haven't run out of ideas, but they said it'll probably be the following summer. So, 104 days of summer vacation, but school comes along just to end it. That is still true, but this is a separate summer. Now, will they have as many episodes as there are days of summer? Will they also talk about how summer now, if they can't do, snow day specials or some crap, because kids actually have to have school remotely on snow days now. If you are not in school anymore, you can thank yourself for that, because that is some fucking bullshit. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. We'll see if that is actually how it goes down. The other thing I would say and this is okay. There was a ton of stuff about Jada Pinkett Smith this week. I'm not getting into rumors about her and Will Smith and anything like that. Jordan Bouchard. Hold on. I do actually have a thing to say about that. But Jada Pinkett Smith, I did went to the Enoch Pratt Library, which is a library I've been to a couple times as a little kid, but it's a Baltimore library. It's a free library. It's near where my parents live. I thought it was cool. She brought a lot of attention to, one, a library I grew up near, and a library in general. I know everyone's sick of her talking about stuff, but if she's going to publicize libraries, and particularly one that I grew up with, I think that's cool. She's also from Baltimore, so that's probably why. Jordan Bouchard said, any update on the Patreon movie review the Patreon movie review winner video? Okay, first off, cheers to you. I think you were the winner of that one. I probably say it in there, but so there are two. The October review vote will come out next week. There are two winners that need to have their videos out. The first one, which I think I know which one, if I'm correct on this, it was you, has been shot. That is done. The next one I need to do, I'm just prioritizing the horror movie reviews next week, and then I will get to yours. But yours is shot, I probably revealed that. Sorry. I believe it is yours. If that is the case, it is shot. Just needs to be edited. It will happen soon, but not next week, because I want to get all the horror stuff done before Halloween, basically. So I apologize it's not been a good month. I thought this month was going to work out better, and I apologize. So that's the deal with that. I hope that clears that up. Other things, let's just go through this Mathew Vaughn thing. I'll say this. The Godzilla trailers for Godzilla -1 look amazing. I'm super excited for that. We're going to have 2 huge Japan movies coming out with that. And did I do an oopsie? What do I mean I'm doing an oopsie? What? Did I? What did I do? Anyway. Oh, I guess that thing. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry, Jordan Bouchard. It's shot. Don't worry. It's coming. I'm sorry for the lateness on that. It's just not been a good month. So but it will come before the other winner, basically. But yeah, it's cool in Japan. We're getting 2 Japanese with Hayao Miyazaki and Godzilla pretty close to one another, I believe. But the trailer looks amazing. I think it is basically just sort of a retelling of the first story. I forget, but I haven't really looked into it, but it looks pretty good. It looks like a decent Godzilla movie. This era of Godzilla feels very random and just sort of a lot of weird different stories, but I think it'll be cool. I'm not going to talk about all the live action animation stuff. I don't like that they made a live action Avatar. I don't want to see a Frozen, and you saw my tweet. If you did, about how I find live action things more a reaction to their insecurity about the possibilities of animation. I stand by that. We don't really need to go on about that, because it just becomes me complaining about how it's a dumb idea. It's a dumb idea. Speed Racer rules, and the rest, I'm just whatever, man. It's whatever with those things. All right, so Mathew Vaughn was doing press because he was at New York Comic Con and did too many interviews, if you ask me. We had to hear him talk about all these different properties, so let's go through them, I guess. First off, why he didn't do X-Men 3, apparently. It was probably the one story you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That was the first of these stories. That the reason he didn't do X-Men 3 is because he saw a script that was for Halle Berry, and they were kind of conning her into signing on, so they put a bunch of stuff they knew she would like, and then they're just going to throw out the scenes after she signed on, and Mathew Vaughn decided not to direct X-Men 3. This would be X-Men The Last Stand. Sure. That's fine, but then he decided to tell us, first off, that Kingsman 3 would be where Hitler's the villain, which is confusing, because wouldn't that be Kingsman 4? Or Kingsman prequel to, or something? I don't understand. But so that joke we all laughed at, that Hitler was hinted at, Thanos was the end credits stinger thing, is apparently really happening. It's whatever. That was cringy. And then we had to hear his version of Superman. He had a Superman trilogy where it was Brainiac, Lex Luthor, and of course Zod. I think it was Zod. Doesn't matter. His idea was Superman came to Earth later, and his dad was wrong about when Krypton would explode. It just sounded like, what if Superman wasn't from Kansas and was alien? I'm like, Just make a different character. Like, that's not Superman. Like, just, I hate when people do that. Just like, I don't know. It's pretty clear, like, he should have not done it, and I'm glad they said no to it. And then his thing about Star Wars is you should do more about the Skywalkers and remake them and, like, do this stuff. I know he was actually trying to get the Star Wars when there was a fight over who would direct Force Awakens. It was, like, between him, Affleck, and J.J. Abrams. But he didn't get it. He wanted to do a more violent one and had Chloe Grace Moretz, we kept reading at the time. None of that happened. I think it's probably for the better because he just wanted to redo the original or something. His two reboot ideas for both of them sounded so horrible that I was like, I'm kind of glad you're just doing your own thing. Argyle looks sort of interesting. I thing with Mathew Vaughn is I did actually really like the first Kingsman. I didn't see the prequel, and I just didn't like the second one. And I like Layer Cake, and I like First Class, but I don't really like Kick-Ass, and I kind of sometimes find him to just be a little... Like, this week I was like, God, dude, shut up. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, it's like, none of these sounded like things I would... Like, I watch a lot of videos on, like, stuff that, like, almost happened, and, like, I'm super obsessed with, like, almost made movies. But, like, anytime I hear one of his, I'm just like, oh, God, I'm so glad that didn't work out. Like, Jesus. Such a horrible idea. Like, oh, my goodness. What the fuck? Like... It takes a while for me to actually go, yeesh, like I'm usually at least interested in it being a disaster, but like both his Star Wars and Superman's, I was like, I don't know, man, I don't know, just no. Anyway, all right, like Matthew yawn. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Cheers to you. All right, two RIPs before I take a quick break and then review Saddle Rash and then do questions. I'm sure there's been other losses, and this is a section that gets weird because I do it monthly, and I'm sure there's other people I can say that to, but I want to say we sadly lost Suzanne Summers, who I grew up with more as the mom on Step by Step, but obviously she was on Three's Company and the Thigh Master ads, which I watched a lot, and she was in Serial Mom, which... Hey, anyone who is in any John Waters movie is okay in my book, and it's cool that she had enough sense of humor to be in a John Waters movie. Always goated if you're in a John Waters movie. And then Burt Young, who was Paulie in the Rocky movies. I think Paulie is a great character. Hey, Paulie had the robot in Rocky 4. Anyone who's friends with Rocky's robot is also cool with me. If anyone's friends with the robot in Rocky 4 and in a John Waters movie, I don't think that was ever anyone, because I think it was just Paulie and Rocky's kid. So if Rocky's kid could get in the new John Waters movie, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they're both, I think, major parts of pop culture, and it's sad to see them go. I am going to take a quick break, then we will do Saddle Rash. Sorry I'm not doing, by the way, a spooky short or something. I just didn't have necessarily... It just got a little crazy this week, but I wanted to do Saddle Rash because I was like, well, I'm doing the other thing, and I've been saying I'd do Saddle Rash forever, and Jack's Blade had his chance to review it and has not. I don't know if that... By the way, did that make it into one of the MomoCon videos that Jack's Blade like loves Saddle Rash? I forget if it did or not. It's been so long. But anyway, there's one MomoCon where we'll talk about it when we get to it. Anyway, I will talk about Saddle Rash when I get back. Then we will do questions. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the super chat tonight. But I will be right back after this, and I will see you soon. And go to the bathroom as well if you would like to. All right, cool. See you soon. All right. Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about Steve or Keith Giffen. Anyway, I hope. Can everyone hear me? I hope people can hear me. Should. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So I did actually hold on. Let me check one thing. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's talk about. Yeah, let me take some water, and then we'll talk about saddle rash. Okay, so I'll address this, Austin, because everyone hates this scene so much. Okay, so first off, cheers to you, Austin. What Austin says is remember in X-Men First Class with the guy powers who can't die, then he dies first by Kevin Bacon. Look, that is not a great scene. I think the movie overall really works. I agree, like that is not great and was kind of stupid and did not. I don't think that was the greatest. I think that was a bad moment, basically. But I think overall the film works. I think that scene has taken on such a legendary status because people hate it so much. That scene, but I do think like the rest of it, like as a whole, it works. But that movie has gotten sort of memed to death. I think of that, the Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender group of X-Men movies, the first two I like. Did Singer do two? I know it's like after that, like don't they do Apocalypse, and then it's Dark. Anyone they do after those two, I hate so much. But yeah, I look, I don't like that scene, Austin, and anyone watching. I don't like that scene either. But I like everything else about that movie. I thought the rest of the stuff about that movie really works. I am also going to be doing an X-Men Season 1 review soon of the animated thing. But I did First Class forever ago. I still like that movie, but it has been a while. So maybe I'll feel differently. Maybe there's another X-Men movie, I'll revisit those or something. Singer did do Days of Future Past. I thought he did a good job with Days of Future Past and X-Men 2. I think those are pretty solid. I don't know. If I was ever going to rank or tier the X-Men movies, those would be... But Logan's still my... I think Logan's my top. Yes. But X-Men, I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of them in a while, so I don't really want to be ranking X-Men movies right now. However, I do think Bryan Singer as a person sucks. I did get to talk to him a long time ago, and he was actually really nice to me. Like, not even creepy or anything. We talked about X-Men comics. It was like in 2003, and he came to my school and he answered my questions. And I almost got to, at the time, everyone wasn't sure who the next Uncanny X-Men writer was, and I flat out asked him. And because the way he was talking was like, "Are you saying you're the Uncanny writer?" And I remember him getting nervous. It was like, "No, that." He was like, I remember him later saying like, "I totally get why you think that, but that's not why." I was like, "Okay, sorry," but he was nice to me. But I'm sure just because this was like a Q&A at the school, but because he went to School of Visual Arts for 2 years, then sort of got kicked out for letting people have beer on set, which he explained. And I've talked to people who were there and said that's true. I think all that stuff about him is true, and I had heard those things about how he acted on set way back, even before I got to meet him that one time. I don't think he remembers that interaction, but he was nice to me, and he did his cool Q&A, and he answered too many of my questions. And I thought he just made my favorite, a good X-Men movie, which I thought would never happen. So I thought he was so cool at the time. Anyway, let us do, and he used to have more to do with School of Visual Arts, which they weren't unaware of, as most of us were, the whole deal with him. Although there had been rumors, but you can't, Anyway, he was very nice at the time to that. But I'm not saying that as like he's innocent. I'm saying he was nice and he did all that stuff. I don't think, okay, that's not, we didn't hang out. It was like I asked him 2 questions and he was cool about it, but whatever, I don't know, but no, people knew about the apt pupil thing, but to most people's knowledge at the time that had been settled, but I had heard the set rumor thing about his behavior on set and like not showing up some days and stuff, that had been known. But the other boys stuff, like that was sort of a rumor, but it really didn't. People didn't fully know the whole deal with that later, until I think it was like X-Men Apocalypse, or no, it was around Days of Future Past, I think, when it really started to come out. But anyway, all right. Major side tangent there. Sorry, this has been the side tangent of Jim's past episode of Movie Crap. I think this is a good one. I'm actually really happy with. I think this came out way better. I was nervous. I wasn't prepared enough. Anyway, I feel like I'm always ready to just chill with you guys. I think this sort of works. I need to do this more. Anyway, Saddle Rash. Let's talk about Saddle Rash. So, this was the first of 2 Lauren Bouchard Adult Swim pilots. The first being this, obviously, and the second being Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. Lauren Bouchard also helped create Home Movies, which was obviously a hit for early Adult Swim. So it makes sense that they would want to make another show with Lauren Bouchard. This is not really like Home Movies and not like the usual Lauren Bouchard style, which Lucy, Daughter of the Devil more is. This is a Western show. I'm not exactly 100% sure how this would work as a show. It more works as an isolated sort of short film about a armless cowboy who's going to come to town, voiced by Sam Cedar, and take out this outlaw called Tommy Morgan, voiced by H. John Benjamin. It plays very much like a Western, but it's like a little funny, but it more plays like a Western. And the character designs sort of look like bowling pins, which is it's made in Flash, but the design you could say is sort of similar to Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. It is interesting. So this I don't think was done in Squiggle Vision, although it is made in Flash like it. I know that Lucy, Daughter of the Devil is the first kind of that whole group of Lauren Bouchard and all those separate from Squiggle Vision. I didn't see anything in the credits that this was part of Tom Snyder or Squiggle Vision, but it does feel like separate from that whole group, but it did go on before like all of them sort of stopped doing stuff with them. I don't think there's a reason. I'd never found out what the reason was or anything. But this does play in a weird way because it does play so much as just a straight up Western, just with one of the gunslingers having no arms, and then he sort of uses like his feet and uses his tongue to shoot stuff and stuff. It's very odd. But the other, like the henchmen, are voiced by Mitch Hedberg, believe it or not, and Todd Barry, which is an insane voice cast in this. And Sarah Silverman actually plays the gunslingers, the armless gunslingers' girlfriend, and Waylon Jennings is in this. And there's also 2 buffalo dressed up as people, which is kind of a funny gag. I think this is fun. It was a fun watch. I think it works as a short. I have no idea how this works as a show, and I just do not get how it would be a show more than just this thing is. It didn't like have a show hook. It had this is a short thing. Honestly, the only real reason I'm even talking about this and taking the time to do it, other than that I am going to have a review of Lucy, Daughter of the Devil out soon, or when this eventually comes out, because I just reviewed Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. It's because actually at one of the MomoCons I went to, Jax played one on this huge thing about how none of us remembered Saddle Rash, and none of us knew what the fuck he was talking about, and how he's the #1 Saddle Rash fan. I have no clue if this made it in one of the MomoCon videos. I think there's footage of it shot. I forget if it made it in. Someone please confirm with me if that made it in or something. But he is a major Saddle. We kept joking that next MomoCon he was going to show up and have a panel and confirm that the new season of Saddle Rash had been picked up and stuff. So he is, I am outing him now. Okay, maybe this wasn't the video. I'm extremely outing him for his Saddle Rash fandom. He is a Saddle Rash fan. I don't necessarily get it watching this, but it is sort of like this whole mythology of Jax Blade liking. Oh, okay. So everyone's. I think this was in the vlog. I forget which one it is. I'll have to search around for it. Maybe I'll put this in the review when it comes out. But it. Yeah, he built this up, and like literally everyone from like Saber to Paleo to Pizza Party was like, "What are you talking about?" Like we had to Google it. I think like no one remembered Saddle Rash as well as Jax Blade. So Jax Blade, number one Saddle Rash fan. I hope I let him know he didn't respond at press time to him being outed as a huge Saddle Rash fan. So I forget. I'll have to find the footage. I should have looked it up. Anyway, so apparently, I think that did air on Adult Swim. I'm not 100% on this, but I do know the rip I found on YouTube did have a bump. Did have a kind of a thing that said AdultSwim.com. So I think it was available at least on their website. I do think this is a fun, weird. Like I think Lauren Bouchard's Adult Swim development phase was like this weird sort of like, well, I want to do different things from. Or this is the vibe I get. Oh man. Okay, I forgot. Wow, this goes back to 2018. I should have done this review already. Lauren Bouchard's Adult Swim stuff has this weird thing where it's like he did the stuff like Dr. Katz he worked on, and home movies, and he did stuff with the School of Vision, all them, and then these things like Saddle Rash and Lucy Daughter of the Devil are not like that at all. And then not like what happened to him after Adult Swim with Bob's Burgers and Central Park and The Great North. Like that feels very different and more akin to his earlier stuff. So this is like this weird period. And this show feels like almost like if I didn't know Lauren Bouchard was involved, I wouldn't know he was involved. Like there's the auteurism of who Lauren Bouchard is not involved in this, which is super weird. Like, other than the voice cast, which I think one of the real highlights of this is that it has like Mitch Hedberg, especially H. John Benjamin and Sam Cedar playing very against type, having these weird things. But the narrator kind of just being like this weird old guy, which was mentioned in the chat, I think was an interesting choice. It doesn't. The only reason this sticks out to me is because of Jax Blade. I think it is his. It's because of him. This stands out. I probably would have never reviewed this. It's such an obscure early in Adult Swim pilot. I think it uses Flash for the time pretty decently, and uses voice cast to make this kind of weird Western about armless gunslinger going against the person who took his arms and trying to shoot them without any arms and kicking people and using his tongue and stuff. It's very strange. I don't know if it really should age well. I don't know. It's a very bizarre, like this was 2002 and they could get these certain people and stuff, but I do think it's worth at least a watch, but don't expect the sort of Lauren Bouchard thing. I like Ryan Walsh is quoting the things of me. I think it is worth a watch, but it is just sort of this weird kind of like early Adult Swim sort of pilot. I mean, it's 2002 when they made this. It just feels like before they really knew what Adult Swim was, and it felt like Lauren Bouchard's like first solo without anyone else thing. And I don't think because I just don't think it I don't think it really pops. It sort of doesn't fully work as a Western. It's sort of just like this weird, like, let's make a strange cartoon thing. I think it, you're like, oh, that was kind of cool is basically the thing. But I think it falls into like this interesting, weird side tangent in I guess filmography, TVography of Lauren Bouchard. But you kind of don't leave it going like, oh, I wish that had been a show. I wish that had been more. I'm sort of like, this was an interesting, odd short film. I'm not sure what you were thinking with this, but I'm glad. I'm glad that is an interesting, odd short film. I'm glad you got out whatever you're doing, and I like hearing the voice cast, but I don't think it really needed to be any more, even if Jax Blade demands it to be so. All right. Oh, it's unlisted. Right. Okay. I'll have to go through those. Maybe those clips will be in there. I'll post the unlisted thing in the Discord maybe later or something like that. I forgot about Mr. Cosmodor. All right, let's get into questions. And I'll try to answer everyone's question in the chat. We have like 20 minutes. But let's go through the questions here. And yeah. All right, I'm going to drink. Oh, we didn't finish Toxic Rick. We got close, though. So, questions. These are from my patrons. If you guys would like to leave questions in the chat, I will. Here, I'm going to put a thing in the chat so I remember it. Questions below this. I'm going to do the bop, 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 bop. There, I can remember it there. That way I know below that. You can write other things below that. Just a marker for me. That's all. Nathaniel Foga says, what's the best song from any Spider-Man movie soundtracks? I'm going to say What's Up Danger from Into the Spider-Verse. I think that Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack is really good. I like Metro Boomin's soundtrack for the new one, but it's nowhere near as good as it. But I'd say What's Up Danger. Start a Riot's good. Sunflowers. I would say it'd be if I was to make a top 5, I'll be Into the Spider-Verse. Would probably be What's Up Danger followed by Sunflower probably. I'm gonna do. Jordan Bouchard asks, what are your favorite 2D and CGI Disney movies? I think 2D. If you're gonna go 2D, I'm assuming you mean animation. I think if we're just talking about animation, Pinocchio is probably one of the greatest accomplishments of traditional animation there ever was. My personal favorite. I'm a big Dumbo fan, believe it or not. I really like that movie. It's also because it's short. CGI Disney movies. I mean, I don't know. I still like Frozen. We have Moana on all the time. I can't, whether I like Moana or not, I don't even know at this point. Because it's on so much. Zootopia is probably my favorite of the CGIs. I'm going to say Zootopia. But yeah, 2D, I'd say my favorite is Dumbo or Aladdin. Let's say that. Austin says, hey, Jim, what a great show. I like these because he writes them before. That's the joke. Anyway, my question is, with Halloween coming up, what Halloween/spooky movies do you want to see? So, I do want to see Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I don't know when I'm going to see that. But I am going to definitely watch. There are 2 spooky movies that I'm not going to review, but I want to watch. One of them being my friend. She was telling me about Pet Sematary, and I said I hadn't seen it. And she was like, "You should see it." And I was like, "You know what? I should see Pet Sematary." So I think tomorrow night I'm going to finish Scavenger's Reign, which I'm going to make a short of a review of the first 3 episodes, by the way, of Scavenger's Reign, and then watch Pet Sematary. And I also want to watch the Werner Herzog Nosferatu. When I first started going to film school, like, it ended up playing in a lot of different places, and I kind of want to rewatch that. I mean, it's like Klaus Kinski as as Nosferatu, I believe, and I know Isabella Gianni's in it, and Isabella Gianni is my vote for most beautiful woman in all of the history of film. So I've been meaning to, it's fucking Herzog, bro. Come on. And Sinram asks, and this is an interesting one. Sinram's got a lot of good SAG questions, by the way. I gotta say that. We love Sinram around here, and these are good questions. I'm not putting it on or anything. Sinram asks, since higher viewership numbers on subscription-only streaming services don't actually result in greater revenue, how do you think actors and writers should be compensated for successful content? So that is, to be clear, one of the things they want to happen with the strike is people should get benefits based on the performance of some of these things, much like how if your movie breaks certain box office things, you get bonuses, basically. Even though, I mean, in theory, how fair is that? Because how much does your performance lead to that? I don't know. Whatever. I agree with those things. I think there isn't another way to do it. You could say how many, if, I think the way to do it is like, let's say you're in the cast of Stranger Things, and when Stranger Things comes back, like 2 million more people sign up for Netflix just that month. I think there should actually be like, and oh, Stranger Things is happening, let's say, I don't know, like next Tuesday, and on that Monday 1 million people sign up. Well, we fucking know why they signed up, don't we? Like, come on. And so it's like, if I think there should be, if there's someone that, if the show is that big, yes, they should maybe get just that sign up money a little bit. That would be fine. I don't know if there's another way to really do it. I don't know what that would be, but I generally think that's what one of the things SAG is fighting for, and WGA is fighting for, and all these unions are fighting for, is like getting some bonuses based on their performance. Because you sort of get these blank checks at the beginning, you get paid out, but you're not sure how you're doing. You're not sure should you be compensated or not. And I think I think it still should be. But I do think, like, if your thing is successful enough, which I think that's only a real small handful, if people are literally signing up for a service because of you, then I do think you should get it. Now, you could say, with what Peacock is doing at Five Nights at Freddy's, isn't that an unfair advantage? Yeah, but you're still part of that, and you still deserve it, because you are getting people to come to the service. So I think that could be one way, but I think it'll still have to be based on numbers, and they're still going to have to do that, because I can't think of it. But I mean, what would it be like? How many tweets? You could obviously mess with that, or how many, how much social media metrics or something that could obviously be messed with, and a bad idea for a system. So I think you would kind of have to do that. If you have a different idea, I'd actually be curious, Cineram, if you are not, I'm not sure, I haven't seen you in the chat in a little bit. So if not, let me know what you think in the comments below later. And by the way, if you have a question and you don't want to be on the Discord or something, and you're watching this, please leave it in the comments. I try to respond to most comments. So this or anything. Okay. Cornbread S. Big throwback time. Remember when you recommended me that sauce a year ago, the Fat Cast sauce? Yeah, I bought that this month. I thought it was all right. What did you usually eat it with? I think it was like chili and tacos and stuff. It was sort of a mistake because I thought it was hot sauce, and I think I had it with a steak once. I don't know. I didn't rebuy it, but I was kind of happy about it. I forget what I said, but I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I led you astray. If anyway, Adrian Drizzle, sorry. Who would you like to cross over with Scooby Doo? Wouldn't mind True Detective. I'm not sure which version. No. Wouldn't mind Adventure Time, since it is WB. You could do that. You could do OKKO. I think that would be cool. You should probably do something with OKKO in general. Regular show would be cool. Live action, I wouldn't mind Abbott Elementary. So those are some answers, I think. Catbot 158, are energy drinks bad for you? Probably. I only drink them when I do this show. Sometimes outside of that, but so very rarely. I only do it because most days I get up at 6 in the morning, and I only really have time to do this, be able to get set up starting at 9:30 and get ready for 10:30. So it's only more of I don't want to fall asleep live on stream. So that's honestly, that's basically the reason. There's no other reason really. Black Seahawks and Winkle, Pluto or Tubi, who wins? Okay, so this is an interesting thing here. They're essentially different, but Pluto does have an interesting array of movies, but you mainly watch it for the streaming channels, which Tubi sort of has, but no one... See, the thing is, like, they both have both those things. I believe Tubi does have streaming channels, but they prioritize the library. Pluto, I watched Certain Women, which is great, and I almost shot a review of, but I was like, when would this come out? I have too many things going on, so I didn't. But I watched that on Pluto. I believe I watched it on Pluto. I also can get that confused, but I do think I have Pluto on more because of their music video channels. If I have someone over, we often put that on. They have a Dora Explorer 24-hour channel that saved my ass so many times. I've fallen asleep to random Mystery Science Theater episodes. I think Pluto works a little better because if I just want something on, I will go to Pluto. However, I found a lot of cool obscure movies through Tubi. I think Nosferatu is going to be on Tubi if it's there. So I would say, actually, as much as I'm joking about how awesome Tubi is and how Tubi is this upstart and scrappy person, I probably rely on the warm blanket that is Pluto, but I do think Tubi would beat the living shit out of Pluto and rip all its teeth off out of its mouth and then laugh at it while it's kicking its Pluto in the balls. But I like the warm hugs I get from Pluto, and hopefully it will get in front of me and take the bullet that Tubi is trying to shoot me with. Sorry. I like this. Tommy Tubi is both like this guy who doesn't give a shit and will literally rock your shit to the point of you will be dead if you fuck with him. That's really. I need to make a cartoon of Tommy Tubi just beating the shit out of other streaming services as people. I mean, in quality wise, I still think Pluto and Tubi are one of the few that you can really go on and be like, oh shit. Like everything else, you're like, I'm going to this thing. Anyway, Austin says, did you check out the show Super Buns on NBC Peacock? Someone cool worked on it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I did not really get to watch it. I should. I know you told me about it, but congratulations, Austin. I don't actually have Peacock. That's the problem. I might. How about if I get it for 5 Nights at Freddy's, I will check it out. I can't really. I feel like I can't review it because I'm just like happy for you, and I'll just like praise Austin a lot. But everyone should check out Super Buns in general on Peacock if you have it. Black Saxon, well, what's your favorite issue of Great Lakes Avengers? I think I read the one in the 70s or whatever that team was in the 70s, but I haven't read the one I'm assuming you're referring to at all. Green Wing Spino, have you seen Monkey King on Netflix? No. I saw some clips of it and it looked cool, but I just haven't had the time. I'm sorry. TuneJ723, best to worst. Perfect Strangers, Full House, Family Members, Step by Step, Two of a Kind. Two of a Kind would be the worst. I'm going to say best is Family Matters, followed by Step, Perfect Strangers, Full House, Two of a Kind. There we go. Starting with Family Matters being the best. Zootopia's propaganda, yeah, but it's like still... I always say when people ask me like, how can you like that? I'm like, ACAB, all cops are bunnies. Jordan, which streaming service do you use the least? I don't use Netflix a lot. We did sort of downgrade a bunch of the streaming services just to save money and stuff recently. Of the major ones, we have Paramount Plus. I don't use Peacock because when we had it, we didn't use it enough, so that's probably one of them. But we have Paramount Plus, Hulu. I think Hulu ends up getting watched the least because it's sort of like the one I poke around the least. So I'd say that because Disney Plus, Netflix is just for the kids almost. Max are the three I use the most, followed by Paramount Plus. If you count Plex, and which I sort of do, and Pluto and Tubi, I would say Hulu. Hulu, it's like I have to have a reason to be there, and the rest I think will go to the Halloween collection and stuff. Hulu, I'd say that might not be true. It might actually be of the ones we pay for. Of the ones we pay for, I'd say Paramount would be the least, but I still like it. But then, I have a bunch of free ones that... I mean, I don't use the Mystery Science Theater one as much as I use the Pluto to watch Mystery Science Theater. So that, the Gizmoplex, even though when there's new ones, I'll go there. But to watch old Mystery Science Theater, I often go to Tubi and Pluto. So I guess that is sort of an answer. Sorry. I missed one. Sorry. Javier asked thoughts on new Goosebumps TV show. I haven't actually even watched the trailer, so I have no opinion on it. The poster looks neat. Austin says, did you see the NYC flip truck for Spider-Man 2, the video game? No, I didn't. So I don't even know what you're talking about. Cornbird said, since my niece is old enough now, they've been super excited to finally get to watch actual horror movies for the first time this year. Been a lot of fun. Any specific recommendations? Actually, and I should have mentioned this earlier, I watched Monster Squad with Sophie. That's a good one because if you're familiar with Monster Squad, I think I had to get a copy. Which now I own, but it's basically about a bunch of kids who are really into monsters and Stephen King and stuff, and Dracula, the Mummy, Wolfman, Creature from Black Lagoon, and Frankenstein attack their town, and they have to stop all these monsters before they take over because there's this gem and stuff. It's from the 80s. There are some little things that don't age well and stuff. But watch a trailer. It's a good like. I want to get kids into horror movies and actually has monsters in it and is actually a little scary. We had a fun time with that, and I got to talk about I think like horror and makeup and how that stuff is done. So I thought that was cool. But check out a trailer first and do some. I would say that one or all the Universal horror. The classic Universal horror is kind of PG, so you can do that if they're cool with watching black and white. I would say. Oh, that's cool. Super ASCII. I think that's cool. I would like to watch all the. I've seen most of the main big Universal monster movies. I kind of want to get into the sequels at some point. But anyway, not plausible. What would you rather fight? A man-sized spider or a spider-sized man? A man-sized spider or a spider-sized man? Spider-sized man. Absolutely. Nathaniel Foga, you think David Gordon Green just got lucky with Halloween 2018, considering how the follow-ups in The Exorcist Believer turned out? Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I think, so the thing is, like, I think The Exorcist was a bad idea for him. I think he should have just, if he was going to do one, it should have been Friday the 13th, to be honest. I like the idea of Halloween Ends. I think Halloween Kills is going to end up being the worst one because it's the least interesting, although I think I liked it more than most people, but it's like I would revisit Halloween Ends and I would maybe revisit 2018, but I think it's like he needs to do his own thing, and I know he's probably not going to stick around for the other ones, but maybe he was lucky because it's easy to make a good Halloween sequel, but I think it's harder to do more than one, and it's like, I don't know. I think he tries to accomplish a lot of like PC political kind of stuff that I think he's more trying to get that in there than thinking about how that will correctly work with what you're doing. Like the Exorcist line where Ellen Burstyn says like, they wouldn't let me in the exorcism because of the patriarchy, and you're like, I'm not like pro the patriarchy, but like that line doesn't work. Like, what are you doing? And I think like they do that a lot, and it's like, I am not against being political. I'm just more against like you doing it really stupidly. I just don't. Anyway, Austin S. Again, you think? Oh fuck. Okay, sorry. Austin S. Do you think there will be a Halloween movie that does something with Halloween 3? I think the Halloween TV rights with Miramax possibly, but we'll see. I think they'd be more open to it now than they used to be because people like it so much. Black Winkle, how many times are you watching Who'Be Halloween this year? Oh, like 7 at least. Nathaniel Foga, have you been seeing the insane amount of memes 8 Crazy Nights has been getting? I have. I've never actually seen. I sort of saw it once at a party, but I don't think that counts. Cornbread, what the heck is up with Disney and Netflix having multiple big presentations a year when they don't got squat each time? Netflix got the Tunham and Geek Week and Disney Plus Day and D23. I mean, I guess they try to just build up excitement, but yeah, you're kind of right about that. Not plausible. What did you think of Fiona and Cake? I did not get to watch any of that. I would have liked to, but it sort of missed me because things were crazy when it happened. Ramsey the Artist, what's your favorite horror/horror comedy movie? Horror comedy. My favorite horror movie is probably Halloween. I used to watch Halloween on Halloween like every year for like a long time. Horror comedy is an interesting one. I guess like everyone's is Ghostbusters, but let's like try not to do Ghostbusters. Actually, I would say my favorite one is, what's that Roger Corman one? And I reviewed it. Fuck, about the artists and stuff. That's it's like Blood something. I'm sure people in the chat are telling me, but I'm Roger Corman, Blood, Bucket of Blood. I'd say Bucket of Blood is my favorite. Okay, Bucket of Blood is my. Sorry, Bucket of Blood is my favorite horror comedy. Nathaniel Foga, is Ninja the reason why you don't drink Red Bull as much as you? No, I just tried to mix it up, and Red Bull smells weird and all that stuff. Not plausible. Is going to MomoCon these days worth it? I don't know, and I don't even know if I'm going this year. There's like a small possibility, but like things are so crazy, and like I think if you're young and you have friends to go with, fuck yeah, it's great. I might just, my life is just too complicated to do something like that. But I honestly, every time it happens, I have major FOMO. So, Austin, which episodes of Mystery Science Theater do you fall asleep to? Honestly, whichever one's on Tubi when I'm falling asleep. That's probably it. Okay. Cornbread. I decided to only selectively read what I wanted to with the angry drink tweet. So what do I win? Oh, the energy. Sorry. I decided to only selectively read what I wanted to with the energy drink tweet. So what do I win for getting it right? Doesn't it need value? Could it be useless trivia? Title. I'll take it. Joking, of course. So I might do that sometimes. Maybe give hints of the energy drink. I thought because that's something to do. I do think you win some things for getting the exact, like finding the exact one. I don't know how obscure it is. In all fairness, I just thought, this will be fun. Why not? So maybe I think you win me thinking I can do a new fun thing on Twitter. That's what you win. It could be called the cornbread. Every time it'll be like, the cornbread hit. We can call it that if you want that. In honor of you, the new Guess the Energy Drink tweet will be called the cornbread for now and forever. And cheers to you, cornbread. I mean, I'd mail you this empty can, but I think that's not something. I think even the post office was like, please don't do that, Tess. Did I get all the questions? God, evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Last question for me. Any idea if you're going to do a Any idea if you're going to do a far side of Treehouse Horror this year? I don't know if the Treehouse Horror things kept getting less and less declining in views, and I wasn't sure, and I thought about earlier in the year maybe doing it, but this year I have I'll just admit to what I have shot. Since you know about Lucy Daughter Devil and Exorcist Believer, I also have No One Will Save You and Last Voyage of the Demeter shot. So I kind of want to get as much of that done. I think Last Voyage of the Demeter might not make it, but I just want to get the horror movie stuff done. Maybe that'll be a short of the new one. Whenever that comes out, if it already did and I missed it, I'm really not keeping up with New Simpsons. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do it a different year and try to pick it up at some point. I've thought of maybe just starting it with the regular show ones. I might do that at some point. That I've thought about. Catbot 158. I'm considering moving to NYC for work. What movie community things, movie clubs, events, etc. do you recommend a newcomer try out? Okay, that's a good question. There are a lot of cool theaters and sort of communities. I can't really do a lot of them. However, Tommy Stathis, who I did that little documentary, does do a cool old cartoon thing called the Cartoon Carnival. I would look that up. A lot of them is at this thing called the Metrograph. That's a cool theater. Film Forum has a bit of a community and plays some weirder films. That one's cool. I don't know what's going on with Anthology Film Archive, but they usually have some cool rep screenings. Obviously, Alamo, the Alamo Draft House has stuff, but Nighthawk, I think, is the better. Those two versions are the better theaters. Let me know if you want more recommendations, like a DM or something, and I'll try to help you out. But I would say those are the one go-tos. There's also, I think, there's one in Bushwick, which I don't know is still going, that does more repertory stuff, and they're pretty cool. But the ones that definitely have community are like Tommy Sass's Cartoon Carnival. I know has a fan base because I went to a bunch of them and the same people were there. I can attest to that. Film Forum has an interesting group, but they're kind of weirder foreign movies. So it's like, if that's your vibe, then do it. The IFC Center plays rep stuff, but doesn't really have a community, or at least one that I'm aware of. But I'm never there, so yeah. But I would just find repertory screenings and find screenings you want to be at, and you'll either find your people or just watch some cool movies. It depends. I have been in and out of communities that just I can't keep up with all the movies I watch, but there are so many cool theaters that you can find. Trust me, you can find stuff. You can really find stuff in New York. Not plausible. Would you rather fight wait, didn't I answer that? Wait. Would you rather fight a man-sized spider or fight a man-sized me? Oh, I don't want to fight you, so I guess I'll do the spider one, but that doesn't sound good. Oh, the Treehouse Horror is in November, of course. Fucking Fox. Okay. Did I get it? I think I got everyone. Did I get everyone super chat? Anyway. All right. So next week, I don't know if the Sovereign's Reign short review will be before Exorcist, believe it or not. I want to do that. I just told you a bunch of stuff coming up. I don't love to promise things early because so many things can change, and the movie review vote will be out this week as well. I just want to say thank you all for being here. I think this was a great show. I think it's one of the better ones in a while. I hope I get to do this sooner than a month. I don't want to promise anything because I'm sure next week I'll just be too exhausted or something. But I had a good fucking time with you guys, and I always do. And every time I do this, I'm always like, this is why I love doing this. So thank you all, and thank you for your support. Thank you for liking and commenting and all those things. Liking the throwbacks, joining the Discord, everything. I really love it, and you remind me why I love doing this so much. Anyway, I don't know if Tommy Tubi will be a short. Maybe it will, because what do I have to lose at this point? A new film rap video stuff is coming by the end of the year. Hype, hype, hype. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. Good luck with everything. Watch a cool movie. Happy Halloween, and I will see you all next time. All right. Have a good night, and have a good night, and I will see you all next time, and subscribe if you would like to, and thank you for being here. See you all next time. Peace.